Good evening and welcome to a Daily Dose of Good News on Wednesday, October the 21st. It's good to be with you. After a particularly lively day engaging in a variety of ministry conversations around the church, I bring you this Wednesday Daily Dose of Good News as something of a bedtime story, even as I'm sure most, if not all of you, will end up reading it tomorrow morning on Thursday before you receive the Daily Dose of Good News then. The good news this evening comes to us from the 6th chapter of Daniel and his experience in the lion's den. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 satraps, stationed throughout the whole kingdom, and over them 3 presidents, including Daniel. To these the satraps gave account, so that the king might suffer no loss. Soon Daniel distinguished himself above all the other presidents and satraps because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king planned to appoint him over the whole kingdom. So the presidents and the satraps tried to find grounds for complaint against Daniel in connection with the kingdom. But they could find no grounds for complaint or any corruption, because he was faithful, and no negligence or corruption could be found in him. The men said, "We shall not find any ground for complaint against this Daniel unless we find it in connection with the law of his God." So the presidents and the satraps conspired and came to the king and said to him, "O King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, the prefects and the satraps, the counselors and the governors are agreed that the king should establish an ordinance and enforce an interdict that whoever prays to anyone, divine or human, for 30 days, except to you, O king, shall be thrown into a den of lions. Now, O king, establish the interdict and sign the document so that it cannot be changed according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which cannot be revoked." Therefore, King Darius signed the document and interdict. Although Daniel knew that the document had been signed, he continued to go to his house, which had windows in his upper room open toward Jerusalem, and to get down on his knees 3 times a day to pray to his God and pray to him, just as he had done previously. The conspirators came and found Daniel praying and seeking mercy before his God. Then they approached the king and said concerning the interdict, "O king, did you not sign an interdict that anyone who prays to anyone, divine or human, within 30 days except to you, O king, shall be thrown into a den of lions?" The king answered, "The thing stands fast, according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which cannot be revoked." Then they responded to the king, "Daniel, one of the exiles from Judah, pays no attention to you, O king, or to the interdict that you signed, but he is saying his prayers 3 times a day." When the king heard the charge, he was very much distressed. He was determined to save Daniel, and until the sun went down, he made every effort to rescue him. Then the conspirators came to the king and said to him, "Know, O king, that it is a law of the Medes and Persians that no interdict or ordinance of the king establishes can be changed." Then the king gave the command, and Daniel was brought and thrown into the den of lions. The king said to Daniel, "May your God, whom you faithfully serve, deliver you." A stone was brought and laid out at the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, so that nothing might be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and spent the night fasting. No food was brought to him, and sleep fled from him. Then, at the break of day, the king got up and hurried to the den of lions. When he came near the den where Daniel was, he cried out anxiously to Daniel, "O Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you faithfully serve, been able to deliver you from the lions?" Daniel then said to the king, "O king, live forever. My God sent his angels and shut the lions' mouths so that they would not hurt me, because I was found blameless before him, and also before you, O king, I have done nothing wrong." Then the king was exceedingly glad and commanded that Daniel be taken up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no kind of harm was found on him, because he had trusted in his God. The king gave a command, and those who had accused Daniel were brought and thrown into the den of lions, they, their children, and their wives. Before they reached the bottom of the den, the lions overpowered them and broke all their bones in pieces. Then King Darius wrote to all the peoples and nations in every language throughout the whole world, may you have abundant prosperity. I make a decree that in all my royal dominion people should tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, enduring forever. His kingdom shall never be destroyed, and his dominion has no end. He delivers and rescues. He works signs and wonders in heaven and on earth, for he has saved Daniel from the power of the lions. So Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and the reign of Cyrus the Persian. Here ends the reading. Friends, whatever the lions that you cannot escape right now, isolation from the pandemic, ill health from the virus or some other agent, concern over the vitriol in the political discourse of our country reaching greater and greater volatility every day, other challenges at home, at school, at work, whatever lions that you cannot escape right now, may you be filled with the faithfulness of Daniel, who faced the threat of lions for no fault of his own as well, yet never wavered in his confidence that God was there with him in that lion's den, assuring him that those lions, scary as they were, would not be the end of him. Thanks to God's presence with you and God's presence in a new day for everyone, given the raising of Jesus from the dead, the lions in your life will not be able to be the end of you either. Take comfort, friends, in God's presence and promise like that. And when you do, you'll become a witness to God's presence and promise for others too. Sleep tight. Amen. Do hope you sleep well this night. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.